Hi, it's Helen Ronnenbergh. And if you want in an automated way of following up with your customers, then stick around because I'm going to show you how you can use Builderall and Zapier to make this an automated process. And if you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Hi everybody and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up Mailingboss so that you can have a totally automated follow-up system. So this system does take a while to set up, but once it's set up, that's it. You don't have to really worry about having to go in and follow up with your customers. So there's a couple of steps to this, and I ask you, if you've never used Zapier before, just be patient because it can be a little bit tricky in the beginning. It's just such a different way of looking at things that sometimes it's hard for us to get our head around it. So the first thing that you would do, so there's really only 5 steps. So the first thing is you set up for Zapier at zapier.com. It's a free account. There is a paid version, but what you're going to be using this for, you won't need to pay for it. The next is to create a Google Sheet, and I will be showing you what headings that you potentially would need. Then you have to sign into your Builderall account, access your Mailingboss account, and then create your lead list. We'll then set up Zapier and the Zap itself. And then once that's done, you can create your email sequence. And I'm also going to be showing you how you can segment it even further using tags. But that's a little bit advanced, but totally doable. And I think this whole setup will probably take you at most an hour the first time because, it's a little bit tricky to get everything correct. So I do suggest you take it step by step. So what you would do is either create a split screen, or if you have another screen, to put the video on one screen and then set up as we go along so that it's easy for you. And then of course, if you have any problems or whatever, please feel free to ask. I'm always there to help you. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to just finish this slideshow. Now we're going to just hop into getting everything set up for us. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be logging on or creating our Zapier account. So once you've done that, the second step would be to set up your Google Sheet. Now these are this is the data that we're going to be using: first name, surname, or last name, whichever language you use, and then the email address. So I'm just going to use this Nikki's email. Okay, and then tag. This is a tag that you're going to be putting on your actual list or your actual subscriber. And this tag you can use in order to trigger certain emails to be sent. So for instance, if you have a like a skincare and shampoo type of business, if they are purchasing the night cream and you know that the night cream goes out, takes 2 months or whatever to complete, then in 2 months' time, you can automatically send an email to them to ask them if they want to fill their order. Or you can say shampoo, and you can send a totally different email to all those customers that have shampoo. Okay, and you can add as many tags as you want to for that customer. So, but we're only going to be working on one. Alrighty, so now we've set up our Google Sheet. The third step is for us to now set up our Mailingboss list. So when you sign in to Mailingboss, if you haven't signed into Builderall, you'll come to these two tiles on your account. If you've only got a free account, this is the only thing that's available to you. But if you've upgraded, then you will have more tools in the Builderall suite available to you. But for now, we're just going to pretend that you haven't upgraded and that this is all that you have access to. So I'm going to go into my Mailingboss account. If you haven't done this before, it will be asking you to set up your name and your address and a couple of personal information, but you only have to do that once. So once you've done that, you then can create your list. So I'm going to go over to lists and I'm going to click on it. And it's going to bring up all these little tiles of all the lists. So every time I create a list, I'm going to get a tile like this. So I'm going to create a new list. And I'm going to be calling this customers. And customers. And this is my customer list. Now, when it comes to opt-in and double opt-in, because we're not using this on a form, we don't necessarily have to worry too much. So we can make it leave it as double opt-in because they're not going to be confirming their email address regardless, because we're not putting it on a website in a format. And then double opt-out, I always make it single because I think if somebody wants to leave my list, and you have to have this, they don't have to work that hard to be removed from the list. And we're going to leave tags empty for right now, and we're just going to click on next. And now it's going to ask us what fields we want to use in our list. So we want the first name, we want the last name. We don't have to worry about the GDPR because, like I said before, we're not going to be actually putting it on a website. If you're putting it on a website where they've got to fill out their email address, you do have to use the GDPR, especially if you're targeting people in Europe. So those are the only three fields that I'm using: first name and email. Emails always has to, because obviously you've got to send them an email somewhere. Their first name and their last name. And then I'm just going to scroll down and I'm going to hit Save Changes. And it's actually going to take me to the next screen. But I can see over here now that I have 3 fields that I've set up. So if you want to just check that that's been done, you can just click on Fields. And you'll see that it says email, first name, and last name. Okay, so now we have set up a list. And if we go back to lists, we now see that we have our customer list. And this is where we call them subscribers, but really they are customers that we want to send automated emails to on this list. Okay, so now we've done all of the first 3 steps, and the 4th step is to set up our Zapier and our Zapier and our Zap. All right, so the first thing is you want to select the 2 things that you want to tie together. So before I get into that, maybe let me just explain a little bit about Zapier. So basically Zapier is saying, I've got a trigger, so when something happens, then something else needs to happen. So what we are wanting to zap is we want to, when you add a row into our sheet over here, we want you to automatically go and create a list, a subscriber in our Mailingboss list. And that's what Zapier enables us to do. So we link these 2 things together, and once we've linked them together, they will always work, and it will always, every time I add or update one of these things, it will go in and it will update the same in Mailingboss. So what happened was Mailingboss wanted to have this functionality, so they went to Zapier, and Zapier then built the integration between the 2 applications, so between Google Sheets and Mailingboss. So the first thing that we're going to be going to is we're going to say we want to make a Zap. And basically Zapier is now going to ask us, well, okay, so what do you want to happen? So I say, okay, so I have an application, which is my Google Sheets, and that's where I'm going to be starting at. That's what I want to use as the trigger. I now want to create, so when a new or updated spreadsheet row, so when anything changes, I want to trigger that. And then you click on continue. And now what happened? Well, that's never happened before, of course, right? Let's just go back. Oh, sorry. I don't know what I clicked on there and I shouldn't have. Sorry. So, okay. So what I have, let's just go back. So I've said I want my Google Sheets. That's the app that I want to use as the trigger. And then the event I want to have when there's a new row or when there's an update to a row, I want something to happen. So I click on continue. And now it's saying to me, you need to tell me what Google account you want to use, or what Google Sheets account. Now, I've already set up my Gmail account, but what you would do is there would be nothing there. So you would hit add new account. It would then come up with whatever your Gmail account is that you have created your spreadsheet in. That's the account that you would do, and you would just follow the instructions and add your password, and then Zapier will link your Google Sheets. So I've already done that. So I'm just going to select here and I'm going to say I want to use that account because that's where my sheet is. And I hit continue. Now what Zapier's done in the background, it's actually gone and looked at my Gmail account and found all the Google Sheets that I have in my account. And they're all going to be shown down here. Now, the one that I created was my Mailingboss automation sheet. And the worksheet that I want to use, so within the sheet, you have these different tabs down the bottom here. And you can create more. You see, I can create another one, that sheet too. But in this instance, I only have one, so I'm just going to delete that one out. But that's basically what it's asking for, because sometimes you might have different sheets and you might want to create a Zap on a different sheet, but using the same Google Sheet. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to say if anything happens in any of the columns, changes, I want this trigger to happen. Or you can, if you wanted to, you could actually say only if I add a name or only if I add this. But for our demonstration, leave it at any column. Now, by refreshing this fields, we're now going to say to Zapier, go and fetch all the fields that I've created in that spreadsheet. Oh, sorry, I didn't do that. Select sheet 1. Now refresh. And now hit continue. And now Zapier's gone to my Google Sheet and it has fetched all the data that is currently in that. So let's test. Let's test and review. So basically now it's going to go and tell me, okay, so you see I saw in your spreadsheet we have test name, test surname, Mickey's email at gmail.com, and then this is just so that it knows some for internal processing. So that's all working correctly. So now I have set up my first one. Great. Now the next one that I want to do is, so you can see over here, I'm saying, when this happens, do this. So this is the second step of my Zap. I'm going to be looking for Builderall Mailingboss. That's what I want to use. Now the first thing that I need to do is actually have to link my Mailingboss account to my Zapier account. So that's what I've set. So now I'm going to go over here and I say what happens. I'm going to update or add a lead list. Sorry, and now it's going to tell me that I need to sign into my Builderall account. So I sign in, and this is when, sorry, I need to go back to my Builderall account, back to my Mailingboss account, and in menu, I've got to go down to integration, and I have to go and get this very long key. I just copy that token. I go back over to Zapier, and just be aware that it actually opens another window. So if you go back to Zapier, you're not going to find it. You actually have to go and find this little window that Zapier opened for you. And all you do is you just copy your token in there, your integration token. Click yes. And now it's going to come up with the account that I'm using, the Mailingboss account, and I just click continue. Now what it's done is it's gone and it's said, okay, so for Mailingboss, what you need is you would need your email address. So I'm going to link this to the email address that is in my Mailingboss account. Then I'm going to link my name to show all options, my first name, and the last name is what I'm going to link to what I call surname. And there you go. And I'm going to, I don't collect the phone number. So these are the ones that I have to add. Now it's going to say to me, okay, now choose what list you want to put them in. And I've only got 2 lists here, but I want to put it into the customer list. And I'm just going to hit refresh. So it's going to be pulling on all the fields. And I'm going to click continue. And you can see now what it's going to be doing. It's going to be taking the email address. That's the email address, the name, test name, last name, test last name. So I can see that I've mapped everything correctly or matched them correctly. And I'm going to test and continue. So now Mailingboss is going to, or Zapier is going to check that everything is working perfectly, and I can say that I've done editing. So there you go. So I've actually created the Zap. So it's really not, I know that it's taken a little bit of time to go through it, but there's really only step by step you go through, and Zapier takes you through it pretty easily. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my Zap. And I can go to my Zaps. And you can see it's on now. So now what's going to happen is when I go into my spreadsheet, and I'm going to say first name, or let's rather say this is the first, this first surname, and first email, and there you go. So so my Zap should have run, so I can have a look here. Let me just refresh the screen. On our task history of our Zapier, and we can just click on automation, and then we can see it's found 1 new row, and then it did the second one. So now it is actually sent it off to Mailingboss, and we just have to go. Sometimes it just takes a while to get there, but it should now be. And now you can see that I've got my 2 subscribers. So we know that everything is working, and we are now ready to do the 5th and final step, and that is when we are going to start creating our emails. Hi everybody, it's Helen Ronnenbergh, and in this video I'm going to be explaining how we're going to create a email follow-up sequence. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go into your Builderall account, and you need to click on the drag and drop email marketing automation system called Mailingboss. So once we've entered in here, just close those ones. Once we've done that, we're going to go to this top menu bar called Workflow. I think this is the easiest way to create your emails. There are certainly other ways that you can do it within Mailingboss, but this is the way that is the easiest in my opinion. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to be creating a new workflow, and we're going to call it Customer Follow-Up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag onto the list, because that's where we start. So we're going to start off with creating, selecting a list. So I'm going to click on that. And the list that I'm going to select is the list that we created yesterday in our training. And I'm just going to click on OK. And now I'm going to go over and save my list, my workflow. And now we're ready to start writing the emails. So when you click on this little green arrow, it's going to give you the option to either create an autoresponder email or an email sequence. So we're going to select email sequence. And I'm going to create a new email sequence. Now this one is going to be customer sequence, customer follow-up. Now what I'm going to also do is I'm going to make this for my shampoo people, because what I did when we were using the Zapier to put the subscribers into our list, we tagged them with shampoo. And what I'm going to create now is a list that's only going to go to those customers who have purchased shampoo. And this is sent to future subscribers only. And then I'm going to have 3 messages that are going to go out in this sequence. Now what it's going to do, we're just going to go and have a look. Now in the background, it's created all 3 of those emails. Now all I have to do is write the 3 emails. What I'm going to do, click on, click on that one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm first going to go with the email setup. And I'm going to check that it's going to the correct place. Now, because if you haven't upgraded, your email will be one of these long email addresses. If you have connected your email address to your Mailingboss, it will give that email. And then I'm just going to have whatever the subject is what I'm going to create. I save, next. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, so after I've added them to the subscriber list, then how long do I want the email to have, what point do I want the email to go out? And you can decide. So say, for instance, if you have a new customer, you know that in 30 days, they're going to be needing a new shampoo or whatever. So, and instead of saying same as subscription, I'm going to say 8 a.m. just because it makes more sense that I want it to go at a certain time of the day rather than when I've added it to the list. And now I'm going to say save and activate later. So now that I've saved my email settings, I'm now going to go in and I'm going to actually write the email. So I click on it again and I go into email information. And here is where I'm going to add the tag filter. So here I'm going to say only send it to people who have the tag shampoo. So must have that tag. Save and next. And here I then go get the email. Now it's very, very easy to create these emails. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. All you do is you actually, all the blocks of text are here on the side. And say for instance you want to add an image just at the top of your image. It can be your logo, it can be whatever. You click on the little pencil if you want to edit it, and then this is the dummy text. If you want to add another text block, you just go over here and you can just pull it in and pop it. Oh, I didn't pull it in. Pull it in and pop it down wherever you want it. And then a little tip that I have, you can see over here is the unsubscribe URL. Now this is a very long URL, so it looks very untidy when it goes when it's sent in email. So edit your text block, copy that unsubscribe URL. What I'm now going to do is I'm just going to change the text and I'm going to just say unsubscribe. And I'm going to click on that, put in a link. And voila. So what's going to happen now is the user is going to see the email at the bottom. It's just going to say unsubscribe, and it's not. And when they click on it, it'll unsubscribe them without having that ugly long URL. And that's it. And you can write whatever your email you want to say in your email. Save and next, and you'll do exactly the same thing for the next email. Save and next. And now you can also send a test message if you want to. I would highly suggest that you do. if you've got any of the filler text, which is that, the lorem ipsum wording, it won't allow you to send it. So I'm going to say hit activate later, because now I'm going to go and do my next email. I come back to the workflow and I do exactly the same for the other one. I say enter my information and I'll go through and do all the emails. What I'm going to say is autoresponder. I'll add the tag to say this one must only go to the shampoo customers. Say the next. And then I do exactly the same thing as I did last time. I can hit save the next. And you do this for all of your emails. Once you're happy with all your emails, you can then hit activate, and I'll show you how you can do that. Activate later. Once you've done all of them, instead of going back into each one individually, you can just click on this little clock. And click active and OK. That you can see there it's active, and you can also see here on this little tile that it's going to send to only the people that have the tag shampoo. So you can make sure before you send them that you have made sure that you have the right tag if you're using tags to send different emails to the same people on the same list. And that's really it. And as soon as you are finished, as soon as you add somebody, you'll see the email will be sent. Now, obviously, it doesn't get sent absolutely immediately. It takes a couple of minutes because the emails get sent out in batches. So even if it's 5 to 8, it's not necessarily that the email will go out at 8 o'clock exactly. It's around approximately that time. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a shout and I'm happy to help you. Bye for now.